So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. This video is going to have no warnings, no big claims, no high stakes, you're not doing it wrong. I just want us to pause right here for a moment, because if you're anything like me, it's very easy to feel like weight loss is something you're constantly chasing, constantly tweaking and constantly questioning. And sometimes the most helpful thing isn't another rule or another change, it's just stopping long enough to check in with where you actually are. So this isn't advice, I'm not telling you what to eat or what to change, it's just a calm reset, a chance to take a breath and put the last few weeks back into perspective. So my name is Mounjaro Midlife, and I've got a YouTube channel where I document my Mounjaro journey. I've been taking this medicine now for just over 7 months, nearly 8 months actually, and I've lost over 70 pounds in that time. This video is all about giving information, sharing my journey, so if you're on a similar journey, you can learn from what I tell you. I document the highs, the lows, everything in between. If there's an issue, you'll know about it first. If it's going well, you'll know about it first. But it is just a way of sharing that information. Today's video is my Saturday weekly update and Q&A video. I will say I put out a community post this week because I had very few questions in my little spreadsheet that I keep. And I've been absolutely inundated with questions on the community post. So if I don't read out your question today, it's on my little spreadsheet and I will read it out next week. So don't despair, your question will get read out. But I've also got to be mindful of not making these videos too long, because I'm taking up a valuable part of your Saturday morning when I'm sure you'd rather be sat there eating a full English breakfast or a nice bowl of porridge or a croissant or a pain au chocolat. So let's get straight into the weekly update this week. Now, if you're new here, a little bit of background. I recently went up to a 7.5 milligram dose from 5 milligrams, and the side effects hit me, and they hit me really hard. And I have got a video about that if you wish to find out exactly what it felt like. Now, great news. This week's been absolutely fantastic. No side effects at all. No headache on the night of the injection like I quite often get. No bellyache, no bloated, no extreme, should we call it gas? No extreme gas, wind. You know, the old, none of that. So, couldn't be happier. And the Mounjaro is doing Mounjaro things like the Mounjaro should. I.e., I've got no food noise, my appetite's fairly low or at a level where I feel I can manage and I can cope with it. So in that respect, we are all good. Weight-wise, stayed exactly the same. So I am currently 73 pounds down, which is 33 kilograms. And that's since I started my journey just over 7 months ago. So more than happy with that. As I said, been a great week. Not sure why my weight stayed the same, but I'm happy to take that as long as next week we get a loss. So next week I will be reporting a loss. Not managed to get to the gym this week. I mean, you can see by the state of my lips, I'm feeling a little bit run down. Just got off the back of a cold. I'm not going to call it man flu, I'm just going to call it a cold because I know that winds everyone up when you call it man flu. Not really been feeling like the gym, and let's be brutally honest here, I've struggled to get up in the mornings. So no gym this week, but fingers crossed next week I will be back on it, although I am away Monday and Tuesday. So my first opportunity to go to the gym will be Wednesday next week, but I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be smashing it. That's the plan. That is pretty much the weekly update for this week. So before we get into the Q&A session, I just want to say this week's video is all about community. It's all about a little bit more chilled. It's a lot less of the high stakes and the jeopardy in this video. This is going to be a community video. I've been sent in an awful lot of questions. I think there's 17 there now. So I'm going to get through as many of these questions as I can. Because I know if you've gone to the trouble of sending in a question, it's important that you try and get an answer. Albeit just remembering, I am not a medical professional. I'm purely sharing the experience that I've learned on my 7-odd month journey taking this weight loss medication. Right, let's get on with these Q&As then. Let's see if we can get a few of these done before you'll get bored and switch off. Right, so first question today is from Stephanie Butler 5310, and shout out to Stephanie because she is a member of the Inner Circle. She's one of the members of the channel. Really appreciate your support, Stephanie, so thanks very much. And her question is, my current challenge is getting in 64 ounces of water daily. Any advice and tips? For me, Stephanie, I've never been great at hydration until I started taking the Mounjaro, and then I've had to force myself, I've had to remind myself to take in the hydration. Now, the way I do it is, I think I've introduced you to Betty before, and this is Betty the Yeti, and she goes everywhere with me. She comes to work with me, she goes to bed with me, and she does everything in between with me, and it's a fantastic bit of kit. And you say you want to get in 64 ounces. Now, Betty is 46 ounces, so that is 1.2 litres, is it? 1.36 litres. There's a link in the description, and that'll take you to my affiliate code straight to Amazon if you wish to have a look at that or purchase one of those. For me, if I've got Betty with me, then I'm going to use her. If I don't have Betty with me, that's when my hydration goes out the window. So it's about making sure I've always got that fluid on hand, and then I will remember to do it. You can also get reminders on your phone. You can get apps where it will remind you to drink, and you can also get different bottles where it gives you the levels on it and tells you what time you should be drinking and that sort of stuff. But I think once you get into the habit of it, Stephanie, you'll soon up your hydration. You'll soon make sure that you're taking that hydration in. If you don't like water, find something, put a bit of squash in it or cordial. I hope that helps, Stephanie, and thanks as always for your support. Right, so this question, and I'm surprised I've not been asked it before. In fact, I have been asked it before, and it was my sister, and she messaged me asking what the hell's going on. So this is from Ranox1. Q&A. Could you please clarify the difference and interchangeability between Manda's Mounjaro and Manda's Midlife? Yeah, the channel name has changed. Now, I'm guessing you would have noticed this. I actually changed the name of the channel over Christmas. And that was a decision I made purely on, one, the longevity of the channel, and two, it gives it a wider appeal. The content is always going to be with Mounjaro at its foundations. I'm 7 months into my journey, but on the grand scheme of things, I'm only a tiny way into the journey. I imagine that within the next 2 months I'll move into maintenance. That part of the journey could be 6 months, could be 10 months, could be a year. So as far as I'm concerned, and as far as you should be concerned, nothing's changing. The content is Mounjaro, the content is weight loss, the content is wellness, the content is health. The foundations and the basis of all the content is and will always be about my weight loss journey. I'm not suddenly going to start taking you for a walk and saying, right, today we're going to do 10,000 steps, come with me. The foundations of Mounjaro, the foundations of weight loss, it's purely a name change that I decided to do at that time for the reasons I mentioned earlier. So this one is from user MY8ZW6KM6P. Question for your Q&A. Do you find it worrying how easy it is to become dependent on MJ? I think that's a fantastic question, and I don't think there's a perfect answer for it. I'll give you my answer, and it doesn't bother me, it doesn't shock me, it doesn't worry me in the slightest, because the benefits for me and thousands of others far outweigh any risk of dependency. And if I need to stay on this medication for a long time, so be it. If I need to dip in and out of it, so be it. But no, I'm not worried about it at all. I think it's a fantastic medication. It's not a miracle. It's a tool, and it works incredibly well if you stick to the rules, if you follow the guidelines. Before we move on to the next one, just want to say, if I had £1 for every time I'd been asked this, and I don't mean £1 in weight, I mean £1 in money, I'd be a very rich man. So the question I get asked a lot is, where do I get my medication from? So I'm going to give you a quick update now. I am with a company called Bulk Pharmacy, And honestly, my experience with them has been absolutely fantastic. The ordering process was straightforward, communication was clear, and everything's felt professional from the start to the finish. No chasing, no confusion, no stress. And let's be honest, if you're ordering this stuff, that's what you want. You want to be dealing with a company that's professional. Now, I wouldn't recommend them if I'd had a bad experience. They're not my first supplier, but they're by far the best supplier I've used. Everything's been so smooth, and that's why I'm happy sharing this with you. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description, which will take you through to Bolt Pharmacy. And I know you're sat there in the USA going, yeah, but we haven't got Bolt Pharmacy. Well, you're in luck, because I'm also going to leave a link to Fella Health, which is basically the same company, but they're the suppliers for the USA. Don't forget to look at your options. Don't forget to do some research. But I highly recommend using Bolt Pharmacy for your weight loss medications. So this next question will probably resonate with a few of you, and it's from Ilko Van. I'm on week 6 and I just seem to spend most of my day peeing. Does that stop at some point? I totally relate with that, because I know when I'm in the zone, that's the first thing I notice. And there's a number of reasons why, and it does get better. When you first start, you're getting rid of a lot of water weight because you're not taking in so many carbs. And you'll also find that you're probably hydrating more than what you usually would as well. That does taper off the further into the journey you'll get, and it is very common with GLP-1 medications like Mounjaro. It's nothing to worry about, and I promise you it does get better. Right, this is a great question. Now, I think the answer may surprise you a little bit, but this is from Corinne PC2MQ. Hi there, I was wondering if you feel different about injecting now compared to when you started. Not just feeling nervous, but have you become more relaxed overall about when you inject, or do you still have a strict routine? If you do have a routine on injection day, what is it? The reason I ask is because I have a specific routine running up to the injection to help my nerves. Thank you in advance. Now, there are a lot of people who worry about this. The needle on this is tiny. It is tiny. I think it's 4mm. You very rarely feel it when you put it into you. Now, this is what's going to surprise you. It never used to bother me. And I've been doing this over 7 months now. So what's that? 28 injections, 29 injections, something along those lines. Now, in the last month, I've been getting a little bit worried about it. And I tend to line it up with my belly and then don't do it, and then don't do it, and then don't do it. I know it doesn't hurt, I know I won't feel it, but I have this little sort of subconscious reluctance to put it into my belly, and I don't know why that is. And then I'll count to 10 and I'll do it. I don't feel it, it's absolutely fine. But I've almost got this little bit of needle anxiety that I never had before. So maybe that's a side effect and it can cause issues. I'd be interested to hear what your routine is, to be honest, Corinne. But it never bothered me up until about a month ago, and now I do get a little bit anxious. Right, this is a question that I actually thought was a bit of a wind-up at first, but then I did some Googling and realised it was a genuine question. So I do apologise. I did have to Google the word gongoozler, because I had no idea what that was. It's Chris Passmore, 4461. I'm 13 weeks in and losing good weight on 10mg of Mounjaro. I walk 12,000 steps each day, but no other exercise yet. We live on a narrowboat, so there isn't room other than on the rear deck in full view of gongoozlers. I feel stupid. Any way out. I'd love to live on a longboat. If you don't know what a narrowboat is, I'll pop a picture on the screen, but they are so cool. I think at the very least I'd like to do a holiday on one. Anyway, let's get back to the question. I noticed somebody did comment about getting some resistant bands and maybe doing that. I mean, you're getting 12,000 steps in. I mean, that's probably 2,000 to 4,000 steps more than me every day. So you've already got a bit of a head start there. It depends how conscious you feel about doing all this in front of the gongoozlers. Your other option would be to join a gym, wouldn't it? Obviously there's cost involved in that, which is on top of the medication, assuming you're already paying for it. The resistance bands is a fantastic idea, but have you got room in your narrowboat for some free weights? You'll be surprised what you can do with a couple of dumbbells. You don't need to go mental. And yeah, there's ways and means. It depends how bad you feel about it. But my first option would be the resistance bands that were already mentioned, get some dumbbells, or possibly look at joining a gym. And the next question is from Wendy Bell, L3K. Q&A, how do you calculate calories? I use a TDDE to calculate mine. Now, I'm a bit of a weirdo and I use two separate apps to track my calories. I use a food tracking app called a NutriCheck, and that's worked out my daily calorie allowance and a guideline. If I follow those calories, which is set at 2,300, I should be losing approximately £2 a week. I also use the PEP GLP-1 app, which is a similar app, and you can take a photo of your food and it will estimate the calories, but you can also track your shots, your weight, your measurements and all that kind of stuff. And once again, there is a link in the description. If you use code MDM, you will get a discount on that app. But that's how I've worked out my calories, a mixture of both those apps. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I track my calories weekly, and as long as I'm within those limits, Manda's Midlife is happy. So this question is from Suki Meow 1313. I'm on week 10, I've lost 26 pounds, which I'm really proud of, and you should be. That's fantastic, well done. I've still got 3 stone to lose. I've been the same weight for 3 weeks, and I'm doing all the right things. My 5mg dose is working, as in the suppression is still there. Have you plateaued, and what have you done to get past it? All I'm going to say is watch a few of my videos on the run up to Christmas and just after Christmas. I had a shocking time, absolutely terrible. Probably went 5-6 weeks, losing maybe £2 in that entire time. It's hard, it's really hard, and it's hard to know what to do. For me, I felt like maybe I wasn't tracking as well as what I thought I was. I think there was some of the old habits slipping back in, so just do a little bit of a reset in that regard. If you don't track your calories, make sure you do, and track them. Well, I like to track them religiously, but that's just me because I'm a bit of a weirdo in that way. Try and up your exercise if you can, but it will come good, I promise you. The medication works. You know that you've lost 26 pounds. Sometimes you hit a wall and you don't know what to do to make it right again. Think about what you were doing at the beginning of the journey. Are you still doing that? If you're 100% committed to that, then drink more, exercise more, and it will come. But good luck, you're doing really well. Rightio, before we get on to what is going to be the final question of this week's video, promise to you is if your question hasn't been featured this week, it will be on next week's video and you will be at the top of my little spreadsheet. But I thank you for your patience, and as always, your support means the world to me. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it and hype it, put your bell on, don't forget to subscribe and all that kind of crazy stuff. If you wish to support the channel, and there is never any pressure to do so, there is Buy Me a Coffee, there is Super Thanks, and there are memberships. So the final question of this week's Saturday video is from Ronald McMartin. And have you always ordered your pens bang on time, for example monthly? Ever had a period when microdosing, when you haven't needed a pen for say 2 months, and then the supplier asks, why the gap? If so, what excuse do you use? I see a benefit in stacking pens right now, before ultimately there's another price increase when the new pens come out and they possibly don't have the golden dose. If you're someone who foresees yourself on a medication for a little while longer yet. Honestly, never been a massive problem. Sometimes you will get 2-3 weeks ahead of yourself and they start emailing you little reminders. I'm talking about my previous supplier now, by the way, as well. They send you email reminders. It's not too much trouble. You talk to these people. Ultimately they want you to buy the medication. They want you to spend your money on that medication. Just talk to them. It's not too much stress. It's not too much trouble. As for stockpiling, not something I've ever sort of got into, apart from trying to buy it regularly every single month, give or take 2 weeks. Before the price increases in the UK back in September, I did see a few YouTubers who were stockpiling it, and fair play to them. If I could have afforded it, I probably would have done the same. But I wasn't in a position to do so, so I sort of committed to buying it every 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks at a push. But never been queried on it, never been questioned, never been a problem. I want to thank you all for watching this video and let me be a little bit of your Saturday morning. assuming you're watching it on Saturday morning, that is. As always, I do appreciate your time, I do appreciate your support, and if you wish to watch any more of my videos, I'll pop a few on the screen now. There is a wide selection of videos spanning my entire journey. There's a 3-month update, a 4-month update, a 5-month update, a 6-month update, a 7-month update, and soon, you guessed it, there'll be an 8-month update. I'll be back on Wednesday with a little bit of a more high jeopardy or a high stress style video, which is probably going to be the pattern of my videos going forward now. We're going to try and stay a little bit more chilled on Saturdays and maybe tackle some of the tougher subjects on a Wednesday. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all soon. Thanks again for watching.